Welcome to the Planet B podcast, where truth, transformation, and faith converge. Join us as we flip the script on ecological despair, guided by Dr. Sailesh Rao's vision for a compassionate, rewilded vegan world. Let's begin the journey to the greatest transformation in human history.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 24 of the Planet B podcast, Overcoming the Dairy Deception. Dr. Rao, we're doing it once again.
I remember when I gave up milk, I was not sure that I could do it. But a week later, I realized it was not that hard at all. I can do this. It's not a problem. And
Right.
I had this huge feeling of guilt lift off my shoulders. So I remember that very vividly.
So let's start with this. Another just a great quote at the beginning of this chapter.
Yeah. It's by Jennifer Schiaverini. She said, "Deception by an omission of the truth is as bad as a lie." In fact, someone else had said, and I didn't put that in, it's much stronger. And they had said, "A partial truth is the cowardliest of lies." Basically, when you tell a partial truth and you drill it into people's heads so that they think it's the only source of something, you're lying to people. But you can say you didn't lie. You can sleep at night saying, "I didn't lie at all. I just told them that calcium is found in milk," which is true. When you drill that into people's heads over and over, children begin to think that calcium is only found in milk. So which means if you want calcium, and if you have a calcium deficiency, go drink milk. There are plant foods that have more calcium than dairy, and there are plant foods that have less calcium than dairy. So calcium is abundant in plant foods. Dr. John McDougall said there has never been a calcium deficiency. Okay, so if you eat enough food on a natural diet, you will get enough calcium.
Right.
So that's the foundational truth on Planet B.
Right at the beginning of your chapter, you highlight that the foundational myth on Planet A, calcium is only found in dairy foods. And then the foundational truth on Planet B, just as you stated, if you eat enough calories, you will get enough calcium.
It's if you eat enough calories on a natural diet. So this is why Dr. John McDougall said you will never find in hospitals people with calcium deficiency, even though they were eating enough food. Okay? You'll only find calcium deficiency in population where people are hungry.
What is calcium? It's something we hear, it's a word we hear a lot about, but people who aren't so well versed in nutritional terminology, we just know we need it. And we hear on a Planet A these silly commercials about, milk, but what is it and where is it found and how does it improve our well-being?
Calcium is a mineral and it is used to construct bones in our body. So calcium carbonate is the basic structure of bones. And we need calcium to grow strong bones. But milk is not a very good source for that, mainly because milk is also acidic. So when you take acidic food in your body, the body has to neutralize it. Okay? Unless you take enough alkaline foods to neutralize it yourself, the body will leach the calcium from the bones because that is alkaline in order to neutralize the acid in the food. So this is why those who consume the most dairy have the most osteoporosis.
Wow.
So it's the opposite of what the milk industry has been drilling into our heads.
Right.
Yeah. They took their weakness and turned it into a strength, which is, great marketing tool to do that. But you're just deceiving people.
And how are these different ways that on Planet A, our society has been led to believe this false myth of, cow's milk being this essential thing to get calcium?
Well, the idea of associating milk with calcium and then calcium it bones. So then, milk becomes good bones. Milk, it does the body good. I mean, all these marketing techniques that were used, trying to associate milk as a healthy food for human beings. Now, cow's milk has been used as a medicine in the past because it has certain medicinal qualities. Thousands of years ago, it used to have medicinal qualities, and it was a way to deliver fat-soluble medicine to people because it had fat in it, right? Anything that's medicine, when you take it in excess, will become poison. And it is not a food. See, cow's milk is a lactation secretion of a mammal who is 5 times our size, designed to make a baby grow from calf to cow in 18 months. Human babies grow from baby to adult in 18 years. There is a factor of 50 to 60 already there, right? How fast the cows need to grow compared to human beings. At our fastest growth pace, as a baby, that's when we grow the fastest. Why would you take something, a fluid that can make your body grow 50 to 60 times faster than it ever needs to grow, and consider that to be good food? It's the wrong fuel for our body.
And what are some of the side effects? Like the medical industry is coming more forward and there's more research going into the toxic effects of cow's milk. What are some of those toxic effects?
Oh, I used to have severe inflammation throughout my body. I had arthritis at the age of 40. I used to have sinus problems all the time. So it was common for me to have cold, and I used to take, so they said it was allergies. They gave me antihistamine. They were giving me painkillers for my arthritis. So I was taking painkillers on a daily basis and taking antihistamines, whenever I had the symptoms. And once I gave up cow's milk, they all disappeared. I mean, 100% cleared out. No
So simple.
arthritis whatsoever. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I rarely get colds these days. So it was always a reaction to drinking cow's milk, and I didn't know that. They call it lactose intolerance. It
Right.
literally is your body telling you this is not food, right? For the majority of people on earth, our body tells us this is not food.
Once we go to the doctor with our arthritis or inflammation, why is the doctor not asking us if we drink cow's milk and instead just offering us a prescription to try to mask the issue?
Well, they're taught that. They're taught,
Mm.
if you have these symptoms, deal it with this medicine. Okay? So they basically taught how to deal with symptoms. They don't do a lot of root cause analysis. If you think about how the modern healthcare system works, the doctor doesn't get paid if they spend more time with the patient. They get paid per visit, incentivized to get that patient out there as quickly as possible. Becomes
Like
an
a
assembly line.
drive-through. It's
Yes,
like, yeah,
exactly.
it's like the drive-through.
Yeah. Because then you don't ask questions, you don't go and get to know people and figure out exactly why these problems are happening to them. So a true doctor-patient relationship would involve knowing what the patient is going through, so you understand the lifestyle reasons why they're getting these problems.
Something that we're hearing more about now is lactose intolerance and how the research is showing that it's affecting a tremendous percentage of the global population. So can you share a little bit about that?
First of all, the framing itself is wrong in the sense that this is normal behavior. A mammal's body is
Right.
not supposed to digest mother's milk after we are weaned from the mother. Okay, we're not supposed to digest this. So it's actually lactose normal behavior in our body. This is why the
Right.
vast majority of human beings have this so-called problem. It's not a problem, right? You're not supposed to be drinking milk as an adult. It's the other small percentage that can digest cow's milk. They are the abnormal ones, because they got some kind of genetic alteration because they were probably forced to rely on it for a long time. And slowly our genes adapt, saying, oh, if this is all I get, I better figure out how to deal with this.
Sounds like a world turned upside down.
Exactly. It's a world turned upside down when you say there is lactose intolerance in people. And the vast majority of people in the world have this normal behavior, which is that they cannot digest lactose after they're adults.
Do you think that cow's milk is in the sense that it's used to raising a cow so fast and cows get so much bigger than us at such a young age? There's something with cancer cells as well.
Well, it's been repeatedly established that the protein in cow's milk, casein, is extremely good at growing cancer cells.
Mm.
Okay. So cancer cells love that protein. They pick that up and multiply like crazy. Dr. Colin Campbell has done a lot of experiments and he has published about it, showing how just increasing the amount of animal protein, especially casein, beyond 20% in terms of calories is sufficient to accelerate cancer cell growth exponentially. And it doesn't happen when you increase plant protein to beyond 20%. It's not just the growth hormones, the protein itself can make your cancer cells grow. And then you add to that the growth hormones and you just pump it up. What is amazing is the human body is so good at overcoming these bad fuel you're putting into your body. And somehow still working, right? I mean, we design cars, and if you in the car, if you go put the wrong fuel, it can break down and die. It won't work anymore. But the human body tolerates it for years.
In chapter 24, you highlight that not only is calcium found in cow's milk, but so is what you call a pus bath. Can you share a little bit about the acronym of pus bath?
Well, pus bath is an acronym for pus, urine, stools, blood, antibiotics, toxins, and hormones. And they are all found in every drop of cow's milk on the market, pretty much every drop. Because cow's milk is it's not no longer a relationship between a cow and a human being. It's a relationship between a herd of cows and a human being. Because cow's milk gets all mixed up in the supply chain.
Right.
So it doesn't come from just one cow. It comes from multiple cows. In fact, a mixture of cows and buffaloes, all put together. Right. And then when you mix it all up, there will be some cows that have mastitis. In fact, the percentage of cows with mastitis is it's an infection of the udder. And that comes when you stick a machine on an udder and suck every little drop, every last drop of milk from a cow. The udder gets inflamed. And so that inflammation leads to pus coming out of it, the udder. Now, you're not supposed to have pus cells. But the government realizes that pus cells are inevitable in cow's milk. So they put a limit on how much pus cells can be there in cow's milk. And different countries have different limits. The US, it's like 4.4 million pus cells per teaspoon.
What?
Yeah. 4.4 million pus cells per teaspoon of milk. In Europe, it is 2.4 million pus cells per teaspoon.
It's disgusting.
Usually the limits are not told in terms of teaspoon. They tell you in terms of cubic centimeters.
So yeah, something we can't understand. Yeah.
Right. So I translated it to teaspoon so people understand what the heck is going on, because everybody knows what a teaspoon is.
Right.
Yeah, it's 4.4 million pus cells per teaspoon in the US, 2.4 million pus cells per teaspoon in Europe. In Australia, there is no limit. And India is somewhere in between.
It's just bizarre.
Next is urine. I mean, the living conditions for cows are such that they're lying in their own urine, they're lying in their own stools. And when they get milked, they're supposed to be washed and then milked, right? But the washing is not always perfect. Who's going to check all this? So you just say, okay, it's a fact of life. There's going to be a little bit of urine in your milk. And there's a little bit of stools in your milk. So that's where the urine and stools come from. And of course, blood, because mastitis, inflammation leads to blood coming into the milk. If it's not a machine, if it was a calf, the calf and the cow, they have a relationship. So if
Right.
her udder is inflamed, the calf won't take from that teat. It'll go take from another teat. But machines don't know. They just go for
Right.
it.
There's something in a mother's milk can sense kind of what the calf or a mother and a child, what that child needs at that time. Could you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, it's an amazing relationship between a mother and a child through the udder. And I think it happens in every mammal. It's not just in cows. So actually, it was studied in human breast milk. Basically, the mother's breast senses if the baby has any kind of infection and then produces antibiotics for that infection in the milk. So the mother is constantly supplying the necessities for the child to thrive. And I'm pretty sure the exact same thing is going on between the calf and the cow, but we haven't studied it yet.
So in this current Planet A system, pretty much every dairy farm, the calf is separated from the mother and then milked continuously. And we could only imagine as you put here, the toxins, the hormones, and then of course the antibiotics that are fed to that mother cow. But the stress that mother cow must be feeling in that state and all of the toxins that are coming out of the body because of that, I mean, we can't even fathom, really.
Absolutely, yeah. But it's all there in the milk that we are consuming. It's a system that has gone way past its use by date,
Yeah.
We have to basically stop that because we know that it is unhealthy for us, it's unhealthy for the animals, it's unhealthy for the planet in every way we see it. And to me, it is the foundation. Dairy is the foundation of the entire pathologies on planet A. Okay, all the planetary scale pathologies come from dairy as the foundation because it's only through dairy that you're able to provide cheap beef at McDonald's, at Burger King, at Wendy's, at all these fast food outlets. Where does the beef come from? It comes from dead mothers in the dairy industry because these mothers are all paid for by the dairy consumer. So they've been raised to a certain age and they are now all paid up, which means they become cheap beef. Whereas if you have to raise a cow just for the meat, the consumer of the meat has to pay for the entire cow. That's why steak is so expensive. And steak is flesh of a cow who is 18 months old. And you cannot eat the flesh of a cow who is 5 years old or 6 years old directly. You have to basically tenderize it, grind it up, and disguise it. And that's what hamburgers are.
So how do we get this message out, all of humanity, if they truly understood what was happening to these cows and what was in the milk and what it did to our health and the implications for cancer and you discussed this in the previous chapter, how carcinogenic it is. You said maybe the greatest carcinogen. No one, of course, would drink it. But how could we get this message out in a better way?
Well, we have to keep doing what we are doing now. To me, it is not knowing was one of the reasons why I was continuing to drink milk. So I think back, how I was before I quit drinking milk. I had bought into all the stories that I was told. This is necessary for your well-being. The government is telling you this. So the government is involved in this, in pushing dairy on people. I mean, literally, they're drug dealers, these governments. So they have to support the dairy industry because without the dairy industry, the entire thing falls apart.
Yeah.
This is why every national government around the world is promoting dairies. They're dairy pushers, literally. Yeah. Then the diabetes industry grows, the healthcare industry grows, the economy grows, the GDP grows, and everybody is happy because they have jobs to do. We have created a system in which We are constantly breaking things, including our health, and we are fixing them. So governments are involved in this, promoting dairy through schools, putting it in textbooks, saying that calcium is found in dairy foods. So this way, everybody thinks you have to drink dairy foods, otherwise you won't get your calcium.
All right.
So they keep associating that milk is healthy when it's the exact opposite. A lot of people get diarrhea. Children who cannot digest lactose because they have already weaned from their mother. They are being fed dairy and they're uncomfortable, they're fidgety, they have to go to the restroom all the time. And then we blame them for not doing well in school.
It's a world turned upside down. There's no other way to say it.
Right. Planet B is the world turned right way up, which is why I'm glad that the latest food pyramid from the US is an upside down pyramid. But they basically admitted Planet A is upside down.
That is great. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Could you share a little bit about the Cow Mother's Day, part of Climate Healers?
Tammy Hay and the Million Vegan Grandmothers are organizing an International Calf and Cow Mother's Day on Mother's Day 2026. To honor the mother-child bond of every species. So the calf and cow are a symbol of all mothers and all babies together. It's not only mothers on land, but also mothers in the ocean, mothers that fly in the sky and their children. So celebrating the bond between a mother and a child, it's not just human mothers that we are celebrating. We should be celebrating all mothers. That's the idea. And then bring to light the plight of the mothers in the farming industry. It's not just cows and calves, but also, pigs and their babies are separated. Even dogs and their puppies are separated. Cats and their kittens are separated. So we have an entire system that's built around separating the mother and the child. We want to highlight the mother-child bond of every species. I think it's highly appropriate that the Million Vegan Grandmothers are spearheading this effort.
Yeah. And how can if people listen to this and want to get involved, how can they get involved in the Million Vegan Grandmothers or the International Calf Cow Day?
If you go to climatehealers.org and sign up for our newsletter, and you can check saying join the Million Vegan Grandmothers, and you'll be added to the email list. And the grandmothers meet, and we are organizing around this event for May 12th of this year. So then you'll be on the list that we'll be sending emails on. There's also a Google form that you can submit your artwork. You can set up an event to celebrate this locally and then submit that so that we can highlight that on our social media channels. So you want to create a crescendo of social media news about the mother and the child for Mother's Day 2026.
That's wonderful. So right at the end of chapter 24, you state, it is a test of our intelligence as a species whether we realize that nature has now given us all the resources we need to create a vegan world and thrive along with our fellow earthlings on this planet. It's just a great quote.
Yeah, it is, no? It's like,
Yeah.
Are you a smart species? Are you an intelligent species?
Right.
Do you understand now that you see that the planet has all these pathologies showing up? Do you understand now that you have the power to actually change the life support systems of a planet, which means you own it, take on that responsibility? Because every species has a unique superpower. Nature never put anything in place that didn't have a purpose. So she's saying, okay, now that I've given you a purpose, are you smart enough to fulfill that purpose? And if we are not, she'll wipe us out. She's pretty ruthless that way.
She's straightforward.
But now she's calling us. Basically, I feel the love from Mother Earth, saying, look how beautiful I am, and you can maintain me. And wouldn't that be a great dance between us, humans and Mother Earth, if we could maintain her life support systems and keep her healthy forever? That's the role that we are being called to play. And it's a very important role. And I think it is wise for us to take up that role seriously. And it will be a sign of intelligence when we do that. If we take that up, I'd say maybe we can call ourselves Homo sapiens, but even then I would say, don't ever call yourself wise. As soon as you say I'm wise, you're no longer wise.
So true. As we wrap up episode 24, is there any closing message you'd like to share with our audience today?
There is a lot that we can learn from the mother-child bond of a cow and of human beings. And why we have to give up dairy is so simple to understand, because we're no longer children. We are all adults. We have to become an adult species. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Rao. And again, as always, we encourage everyone to please read the book. There is a Planet B, and it makes these concepts so simple. That's why I love it. And share it with your friends. Of course, share it with people who aren't vegan as well. And hopefully they can learn as to why we're taking this path with Planet B. So thank you all so much for joining us. Next up, episode 25, will be Gaining Independence from Colonialism 2.0. So another very fascinating chapter, and we hope you stay with us for that one too. So thank you all so much. Bye.
This has been a podcast from Planet B, where conscience gets better reception. If you haven't moved here yet, we thank you for visiting.
The house is burning, but we're still sitting in the glow. Phones charged, lights on, pretending we don't know. But the forest is silent, the river's running low, and the flame on our plates is the strongest fire we throw. Put out the fire, put out the fire. Echoes and rise, this is your hour. 7 boundaries broken, the earth pushed past the line. Climate, land, species, fresh water, chemicals, nutrients, oceans in decline. Not danger, disaster in real time. Put out the fire, ooh, put out the fire. Metafoodians rise, this is your power. And here in India, one truth stands the same. Milk is not just milk, dairy feeds the flame. Cows and methane, fields and forests turn to grain. Politics, culture, carbon, all wired to the same chain. Every cup of curd is heat in the air. Every block of butter is a forest repair. It's not a small habit, it's a planetary affair. Put out the fire, put out the fire. Echoes and rise, this is our hour. Energy fixes half the hurt, Dr. Rao made that clear. But food fixes the other half, the half that's burning here. Change the plate, change the land, change the future's atmosphere. Put out the fire, put out the fire. Metafoodians unite, this is your choir. Every millet, every fruit, every sapseed, every bean is water on the wildfire of a world we've never seen. Every oil-free bite is a river turning clean. This is not perfection, it's direction. Not pressure, but protection. A week of choices can cool a generation. A company's courage can ignite a nation. Put out the fire. Ooh, put out the fire. Echoes and rise. This is your hour. Metafoodians unite. Metafoodians ignite. Sharing love in the meta zone.